Welcome again to our podcast. Today we are starting many conversations about preparing your CV for global impact. Quite a number of us are doing a lot, and maybe because of the economy or something, we may not be paid the way we should, considering all the work that we're doing. You'll be like we are working like elephants and eating like ants. So one option for you is to position yourself such that you can be engaged by a global organization. Some people are working for global organizations and they are working remotely. They're actually still living in their country of birth. For example, Nigeria. But for many organizations, they probably don't want to do that because people have abused that as well. But that's another conversation. Let's focus on what we are currently saying. Anyway, so why do you want to tailor your CV for the global stage? I already started talking about it. For some of us, earning in foreign currency is actually what we need at this time. Because for some of us, we say, oh, I can't do business. All I have is just this, my skill. But yes, okay, fine. All you have is your skill. But must you use it only in an economy that maybe cannot compensate you for your time? Have you considered expanding your reach? And I have a personal story to share there. For me, for a long time, part of the reasons why I didn't bother looking for anything was I felt like I couldn't get a better offer elsewhere. And it was all in my mind, really. Because everyone just kept telling me that, are you going to stay here forever? I think I've shared the story of a director that shook my hand and told me, see you at 15 years. And I was like, Father Lord, I don't want to see him at 15 years. Interesting thing is that the director himself, he stayed within the organization, but he went to another country, right? And there I was, I was saying I reject it. I was still kind of stuck. But thankfully, I think it was stuff that happened at work. I really felt like my work was being debased. And it got to a point where someone that I had mentored was given a position I actually wanted. And that spurred me. I was angry initially, I had all of this victim mentality, oh, how can they do that to me thing, until I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, and he was quite brutal, told me the truth. He told me that, see, no one is going to just keep giving you things. Yes, you have expert power, you are a subject matter expert, but you're not doing anything to showcase your value, and you're not doing anything to improve on what you've currently done. So they don't have to retain you. They don't have to keep paying you so much when they can pick someone else that with just a bit of training can do what you're doing. And it was a wake-up call for me anyway. And then he asked me to send him my CV. And when I sent him my CV, he was like, what is this? You need to work on this CV. The work I've done, because my CV was just something that, yes, I had something because it was required by the organization for us to keep our CVs up to date. So my CV was tailored to my organization. So even with keywords, everything was like what they told us to do at work, and they tailored it so that it would favor them. So some of the positions that I was actually qualified for, I wasn't using the right keywords for them. So thankfully, I started working on my CV thanks to his spur. Then eventually, my sister is in HR. She also asked me to send her my CV. I was quite ashamed to send her what I had, but I sent it anyway. She spent some time with me, panel beating that CV and putting it in. Then she told me to go on LinkedIn to go and see people that were doing the kind of roles that I would love to, that I feel I'm qualified for, and basically just use that to clean up my CV. I'm still in that process because I really struggled with cleaning up my CV because my mindset was so tailored to my organization. So this is what I do these days. My organization still requires us to submit a CV for the database. So what I do is that I have one that is for the organization, but I have another one that is my global CV. That's the resume, the one that I have that if I'm applying, whatever, that's the one I send out because some of the keywords in the one that for my organization don't match what is global. And unfortunately for the organization, that's one of the ways they try to keep people or retain people because your position, they don't use the global terminology. So you need to do some research to know how you can position yourself globally, even with the skills that you have. So that's the beginning of the conversation. Anyway, we are still going to have a lot of conversations. And so the other thing that would be when you're trying to position yourself globally, you must do is to clean up your LinkedIn. Clean up your LinkedIn. Let recruiters be able to find you. But that's another module on its own. That's another jungle per se. I guess we are not ready for that conversation today. So what actually triggered me to start talking about preparing your CV? Someone I know that is a caterer here in Nigeria, she reached out to me and she asked me for a sample of a CV. And then I asked her, why do you want that? She said, oh, that I don't know whether it's for herself or someone, that they need a CV of a caterer that for Canada. And so, of course, I put something together and I sent to her as a sample. And just to a side note, what you will get from me if you're not paying me to consult is, at best, is a sample. I'm not going to invest my time that I'm not remunerated for, because there are people that are paying me for my time. So if you do want me to invest time with you, you need to be ready to pay for it. And that's not me being proud. That's me making the best use of my time. So just by the side. So don't think that you're just going to send me a message, please, can I have a sample CV? And then I'll sit down and make it tailored to your expectation. I won't do that, because that's me disrespecting my time and disrespecting my clients that pay for my time. But that's just by the way. So let's continue our conversation. So I was talking about the lady that reached out regarding the CV, and I know this person. So for some of us, the thing that is keeping us away from our next level is that we are not willing to invest the time. So when I sent her the CV, I could almost guess what would be going on in her mind, that how am I going to get to this point? But she sits down and she digs deep. Most of the things that are in that Canadian CV is just that she needs to reframe her experience in Nigeria. For some of us, we already have what it takes to compete globally, but it's just that we haven't taken time to invest. Fun fact, I was going to take an MSc in a UK university, and before I even started, I eventually didn't go forward. But just before I started, they sent me the link to a resume writing system or something, and I passed my CV through. I think the first time I passed my CV through, my score was like 42% or something, and this is me that I was feeling like a high flyer. I was at 42%. They gave me recommendations. I implemented. The best I could get to was maybe 60 something or so. And just to let you know that for some of us, it's not your village people. Your village people are not after you. It's the fact that you haven't learned how to position yourself and to write yourself up. The work you've already done, you're not presenting it in a way that is globally acceptable. So I was talking about the caterer lady that wanted the CV for Canada. We'll talk a bit more about tailoring your CV for regions and roles and all of that. But what I wanted to say concerning her was that if you look around, particularly, well, let's leave her, let's talk about ourselves. If you check, if you compare what you have on your CV versus those global CVs, you realize that you probably have already everything that is required. It's just that you haven't written it in the way that the recruiters are willing to, or the ATS will pick your CV. So that's what we want to focus on and talk more about. So let's talk to you. You can reach out and let's look at your CV with you. Of course, it's going to be at a fee because we don't work for free. But what we can offer you for free is a quick consultation to let you to 15 minutes is free, long and short. Afterwards, everything else that we need to do after that will be paid for. On the next podcast, we're going to be talking about we are going to continue this conversation about positioning your CV. I'll determine which topic I want to talk about, but there's quite a lot to unpack and I don't want to make this too long. So stay tuned, hit the notification, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when the next video comes up, you can quickly watch it and take action. Enjoy your day.